Welcome everyone, I'm Dawn Duval with Shall We Stamp. Thank you so much for purchasing this fancy fold or fun fold class. I hope you enjoy it. Now this card, we're going to be doing what's called a pleat card. And what I have done, here are just three of the basics that you need outside of your card base. Now your card base is going to be cut at 8 by 5.5, okay? Score at 4 1/4. So we want to bring this over here and we're going to score this at 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and get that scored. Now you can, since we're this type of card, we're going to fold it this way and then we're going to make it open from the right to the left. Okay, so this is going to be our base card base right here. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a different color of paper. Now I'm going to use Very Vanilla because I'm using this designer paper, which is from the packet that is the Lights Aglow, and these are 6 by 6s. Okay, so you're going to cut this in half. You're going to cut it at 3 by 6. So the first layer that you're going to have is going to be 5 1/4 by 3 1/2, and you've got all the instructions of everything is written down, so you don't really need to take notes at this point. So this is going to leave us a little bit of border because we want to use this. And then our next piece is going to be 5. It's going to be a little bit shorter. So the next piece is going to be at 5 by 3 1/4. So we're going to just do our layering, right? And then we're going to have another piece of paper of cardstock, or I'm sorry, this is going to be your DSP, which is 3 by 6 inches. And then we're going to do these folds. We're going to score it, and then we're going to crease these folds to make our card, which is going to look like this when we get done, and we'll have our sentiment and everything up there. All right, so you'll just watch as I go, and we'll get it done. So I just want to show you the template. Okay, so we're going to take our first layer, like I indicated, is 5 1/4 by 3 1/2, and this is one of our pieces of gold foil. So 5 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then we're going to glue this down, and then we're going to come in with a piece of Very Vanilla, and we're going to put that at 5 by 3 1/4, right? And then we're going to score and add our designer paper. So let's go ahead and score this first, and then we'll glue everything down. So we want to take our 3 inches by 6 inch of designer paper, and we're going to start scoring this at 3 1/4. So because I've got our paper trimmer goes up to 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 over here, it's going to be easier for me to line this up at 3/4 of an inch, and then I'll turn it around. But it's easier to manage it this way. So let's do 3 1/4. I'm sorry, it's 3/4, not 3 1/4, 3/4 of an inch. Okay, now I'm going to flip it, and then we're going to come over and we're going to go to 1, and then once you see what I start doing, then you're going to get the hang of what it is. So we're going to start at 3/4, then we're going to score at 1 inch. We're going to move it down to 1 3/4, and then we're going to make that, I'm going to go one more time. Then we're going to push that at 2. You got it? And you'll see what I'm doing. 2 3/4. Make sure everything's lined up top and bottom. 2 3/4. Then we're going to move it to 3. Okay, 3 3/4. And then we're going to move this down to 4 inches. And then we're going to move it down to 4 3/4. Get that right lined up. So 4 3/4. And then we're going to move that to 5. Let's glue that down just a little bit. All right, so there's 5 inches, and okay. All right, so let's just move this out of the way, and we'll go ahead and get our folding going on. This is my paper. This is my design. So make sure you've got if it's got a pattern to it, you want to make sure you have the pattern in the right direction. All right, now we're going to go ahead and mark on this whatever side I want my pleats. I want them to go this way. So I want it to be like I did here. Okay, so I want it shorter up here and longer down here. You can have this shorter and go longer down here if you want to cut it that way. But I want my cut to go from here to here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down 1 1/2 inches. So from the top, so I'm just going to make 1 1/2 inches, and I'm just going to make a little mark. Hopefully I have a pencil handy. All right, so I'm at 1.5. I'm just gonna make a little mark right there. Now, you can have it go all the way down to the 5th, to number 5 if you want it that way, or to the score line of number 4. I'm gonna go to number 4, because look, this would be, this is your 3/4, so that's 1, no, 2, 3, this is 4. So I'm gonna do it down to the next, I'm gonna cut it to where this one's the same. So 1, 2, 3, that's 4. So I'm gonna go down to the 4th, right? So this is 5, 4 3/4, and 4 would be right here. Okay, so that's where I want mine to cut. So I'm gonna fold it just so that I know where my line is, okay? And I've got my mark right there. So I'm gonna pull this in the paper trimmer, and I'm gonna line up my little mark and put that in the tray. Actually go to the 4th. So I want to go right here. So I am going to line this up to that mark right there, because that's my 4th, okay? So I've got it in the track. I've got that score line in the track. I'm gonna place this down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut off this piece right here, okay? Now this is what my paper is going to look like. So now we're gonna go ahead and start folding. So we've got our 3/4 of an inch. So let's go ahead and just start folding. So this one's gonna get folded, and we're making a pleat, right? So we're gonna go fold, and then you're gonna fold up. So you're just gonna do folds, and then just keep folding that to make that pleat look. So this one's gonna go up, that one's gonna go down. Once we get it going, it's gonna work. So there's that one, and this one we wanna, so you're just gonna have to take your time. Make sure you've got it right. So that one's gonna go down. And I just start folding and then trying to hold it. And then I'll come back and do a really good burnish. All right, there's our one mark. So that one's gonna go up, and then this one's gonna go down the little 1/4 of an inch, right? So see what I'm doing? So this one's gonna go up. So just, you might wanna just go ahead and fold all the lines so you can kind of get them a little bit crisper. And then we're gonna fold that one. And then this one, we're gonna fold over that. Okay, see how I'm going? So it's giving that pleat look, right? So you just want to keep folding and pushing down. So our next score line is right here. So you got to look for them, because if you don't push, you don't want to push too hard on your designer paper, because it might cut it. So you just want to just gently find it and then fold as you go. So we're going to do like that, and trying to find those little things. You got to look hard for them. So just make sure. And then we're going to fold this one. This one's gonna go down. I'm sorry, this one's gonna go up, and then this one's gonna go down. All right, so there is my pleat. All right, so see how that works? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is come back with my bone folder, and I've got them all listed. I'm just gonna go through and just kind of give them a good burnish this way. All right, so that's what we're going to do right there. Now, this might hang over a little bit on your card base. So what I did was I'm going to cut off, I'm just going to cut off a little bit on this side, and we could probably do, let's see if we can do another score. So if we did another score, we could get that down. But we want that to look like it's pretty full, right? We want the full. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably just trim off this little bit right here, or lay it down and trim a little bit from both sides. Whatever works for you, okay? And I want this to come all the way down to the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is, you can put your liquid glue, or you can use your glue dots, whichever works better for you. I'm going to, let's try I used glue dots on my first one. So let's go ahead, let's just put a little drop of adhesive. Let's do that. You don't want too much, because you don't want it to ooze out. So we just want to glue down our little, and you want to hold it so that it adheres. So we may have to hold that for a minute. That's why the glue dots might work a little bit faster, or you could use your seal, whichever you prefer. So we're going to have to hold that, because I don't think that's going to want to. All right, so we're going to hold that down. And then I'll come back. Let me put a little bit on this one. So I'm just gonna put a little glue dot, a little adhesive on each, and then we'll hold it down so it can adhere. And you can put a little bit more if you want. You just wanna make sure that it holds it down. And we'll just put a little bit there. All right, so let's fold and start holding them down so that it grabs it. And then we'll just let that sit for just a minute while we hold on to it. And again, we can go back with our bone folder and do a little bit of burnishing and hold that down. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of give it a good crease. And we'll just hold it for a second or two, whatever it takes to get it to hold. All right. And if it just takes a minute for it to hold, you may have to add a little bit more glue if you didn't add enough to it. All right, so this one doesn't want to cooperate. Let's see, let's put a little bit more. I didn't put any down here, so let's put some all the way down. Let's put that down. That should hold it. And the same with this one. This one I didn't put it all the way down. So you may just want to do a small, strip. All right, so that's how my pleating is going to look. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to burnish the bone folder. Now, depending on what color, which side of the paper you want to show, you could do this side or you could do this side. It's up to you, however you want to do it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and attach this, but like I said, I'm going to trim off probably maybe 1/8 of an inch or so on each side so that I can get it on here. And that way, so I'm just going to take my paper trimmer and I'm just going to do a little bit of a cut. I'm just going to go in here and kind of eyeball it. I'm not going to cut too much off. I'm just going to lay it in there and cut. And then I'm going to come back and let's see if I put this here. We're going to lay that down like that. I'm going to cut off. That way I can always come back and take more off if I need to. I don't want to cut it too short. Okay. All right, so we're going to lay this here, see how that looks. And that's perfect. And if it goes over a little bit, it's okay because it's not at the edge of the card, okay? All right, so that's where we are with that. So now we can go ahead and add our adhesive to the back. So we want to put a strip down all the way across here. And then we'll just put some down on each of the lines there. We'll go ahead and attach this to our very vanilla piece. Now you'll use whatever color card-based stock that you want that's going to match with your paper. Okay, so we're going to lay that right like that. Okay, all right, so we've got that. And now this piece, we want to make sure it's adhering. Okay, and we just want to, you might want to just let it sit for a few minutes just to make sure your adhesive and everything is on there. Isn't that cute? All right, now we're going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to add that to my gold. So we're going to put that like that. And you could do, this one has a little bit of white, but I just thought the gold, so I thought I'd do very vanilla, so I didn't want it to look so stark. So we'll go ahead and add the adhesive. Now you can see I've got a little bit hanging over, but that will be fine because that's not going to be on, still going to be on the inside of our card. And then we're going to apply this piece right on here and center that as well. All right, so we've got that, and we'll move it over just a tad to get it straight. Let me look at it. All right. Now the next thing we're going to do is I've taken a 1/2 inch and we are going to add this to our up here, and we're going to make a bow. So I'm going to, this is 4 inches. I'm sorry. This is a 1/2 inch. And this should be 3/4, right? So I'm going to cut this by 3/4. So let's just confirm. That's what I said, 3/4. Yep, 3 1/4. So let's come down and we're going to trim this to 3 3/4. So we're going to put it 3 3/4 and we're just trim that off. And then we're going to attach this. And you can use whatever you have on hand to make your bow. I am using the retired bow building bundle punch that we had. Now, if you have like the vase builder, you can use part of that to create your bow as well. I know, you just got to look at your punches for different ways you can use them. All right, and so we'll go ahead and add this to the top. All right, so I'm going to put this on here, and I'm just going to barely cover the top of my pleat. So we're going to lay that down there. And you probably could do a little tiny dimensional on the underneath on each side if you wanted, but I don't think anyone's going to notice. All right, now I'm going to take my paper and I am going to cut this is a retired set, so I'm going to use another piece of that same paper and I'm going to cut a bow. Let me do it this way because I don't need that piece of the middle. And actually, yeah, because we're just going to make it small, right? So we want a small piece. And we'll do this one. This one, we'll just overlap it. Okay, so we're gonna take this, and we're gonna just glue these. I'm gonna trim one off a little bit because this is gonna be too big, right? So let's trim off, we'll do the one that's gonna sit on top. So I'm just gonna trim that right like that. And then we'll glue these together to make it look like a bow. Okay, so let's glue those. And I think I'm just gonna put a glue dot on this. So let's add a glue dot, and then we will have this attached. Let's see, we want it on the front of the card. So let's put it right about there. And then I'm gonna add this piece right on top. Okay. Actually, we should do it the other way. No, that's fine, that'll work. Now we could do the little strip that cut off and wrap it around if we want to, but I think that's fine. I think that'll be fine. We can trim that if we want to take that off right there, or add a little, we'll add a little dimension or something to it. All right, so before we add that, let's go ahead and add this to our card base and my adhesive. So we'll add this to our card base, and then we'll go ahead and do our inside piece as well. So let's get this on here. And then we're gonna stamp it, which I probably should have stamped it before I did all this, don't you think? But oh well, we're gonna have to be gentle. Hopefully we did it right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put this piece right here. I don't think I like that bow like that, to be honest with you. Let me change that. I don't like that. I think we're gonna do it. Let me cut another piece. I don't like the way that is looking. So let me cut one more piece of my bow. Hang on. Let's do that real quick. We'll cut one of these. And we'll cut another one. It just wasn't, I didn't like it. So, and then we've got, we'll cut one of these little pieces right here to wrap around it. We may need that. Okay, so let's see. All right, let's try that again. Let's see, we're gonna get rid of all, we'll keep those two. Let's get rid of our scraps, get those off the way for just a second. Take that one out of the way, this one out of the way. Now, and I need my little piece right here. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and glue this down, and I'm gonna put one on underneath the other like I just did. So again, we'll put a glue dot. I was gonna trim it, but since we're gonna cover it, I think we'll be fine. I might trim it just a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna put one on here, and then this one will trim just a tad so I can get it. No, we'll just put that on there, because I don't want my bow but so big. So let's move it in just a tad. And then this, we're gonna wrap around. So let's put a little bit of glue right here. All right, and then we're gonna push this on there, and we'll wrap it around. And then again, whatever you have on hand to make a bow, or you don't have to put a bow, you can always put something different if you would like, it's up to you. But I think the bow definitely dresses it up. So I'm just gonna add a little dot of glue on here. All right, and we're gonna pull that up and fold that over, and then that hides that center section of our card, okay? And then we'll attach this to the front of our, just like that. And I'm just gonna use adhesive because I don't think we wanna have, it's already bulky. So I'm gonna add some adhesive right here, and I'll put a little bit on each side. All right, so we're gonna lay that right there. And there's our bow. All right, so we're almost done. Now the next thing that we want to do, we have our inside piece, and this is the 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and add this. I'm not going to stamp anything on the inside at this point. I'm going to wait and use I like to write a message inside. So I'm just going to leave that blank. So we'll add that. And then on the front of the card, I'm going to use a sentiment from the tree trimming stamp set right here, and I'm going to use "May your season be merry and bright." So I'm going to bring that in, and I'm going to stamp that in cherry cobbler, and let's just hope I get it straight. I'm going to lay this down flat so that I don't have too much bulk underneath. All right, so let's get that inked up, and we'll go ahead and stamp that right here. And I think it's crooked. but we'll see. There we go. Perfect. All right, so there is our pleat. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do on this particular one is I've got some champagne rhinestones, and I'm going to add those right down here at the bottom. I thought the champagne goes well with the gold. So let's go ahead and add a few of these. I can get them out of the bag. All right, so I'm going to come in and place, not sure if I want the big ones or the little ones. Let's see. Let's do the larger one. So we'll just put, well, these are the medium size. So let's just do 3 of the medium. I think the large might be too big. All right, so we'll just place 3 of those, and that kind of dresses up that area. There you go. So there is our pleat card. Isn't that cute? Don't you just love that? So just look at all the possibilities that you can do depending on your designer paper. So you have your pleat, and then we'll open it up and have our inside section. My sentiment is a little crooked, but you know what? Whoever gets this card, they're not going to know the difference. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next video.